Our next guest is a rising singer and songwriter who just last year released her debut EP, I Hope You See This, and her song, In My Bag, has proven to be a hit. Please welcome Thuy.
Thuy! Woohoo! All right, come on,
Hi, gorgeous. Oh my God, I don't want to eat.
I'm gonna give you a slight hug.
Thank you for having me.
Have a seat. You look beautiful.
Thank you so much. I'm so nervous right now.
Why are you nervous?
This is my first ever live daytime show.
Oh.
And honestly, I wouldn't have wanted it with anybody else but The Real, because I used to watch The Real back in the day. I would be at my medical job like, what is The Real up to?
Really?
Sorry, whoever's watching, my old boss. But yes, I'm like, this is such a dream come true. So
Well,
thank
we
you.
are so pleased to have you. And you're from the Bay Area, so I know Jeannie misses you.
Yes.
She's from the Bay Area. But I heard that you're a big dog lover and you have a dog named Oliver. Tell me about your love for dogs.
So I feel like I love animals, but dogs more so. Like, I love the cat lovers, but they just, I'm allergic to cats, so I can't be around cats, but they're cute. Just dogs speak to me in a different way than I can explain. Like, my dog will just be on the couch and he doesn't say anything, but I'm like, we get it.
You get
it's the
each other.
unspoken conversation, you know, between us.
That's hilarious.
And he's just my comfort. I love him.
Well, let me just say, I love the name Oliver, by the way.
Oliver's a good name. It's a good, like, human name. I love human named
absolutely.
dogs.
I have a son named Oliver, and my grandson is Oliver as well. So
It's a good name.
That's why
we
when I
got
said
something in common.
Oliver.
It is a good name.
Exactly. Now, Thuy, let's talk about this. You started entertaining a karaoke night with your family.
Yes.
Tell me all about that, and how old were you?
Well, I feel like I've been singing since I was 5, or when I can actually talk.
Uh-huh.
But at all the house parties, I feel like karaoke was the main event. And if you're Vietnamese, you understand. It was like everybody would come over for the parties.
Yeah.
And you knew it was coming up, and people would blast the music. Sometimes we'd even get the cops called on us because it was so loud. But I knew that was my moment to shine. I was like, okay, I don't know any Vietnamese songs, but I would just walk my little butt over there and be like, hey, can I sing a song? Be like, Britney Spears, sometimes that was my jam.
Oh, that's so
And
funny.
I would just sing and dance in front of my aunties and uncles. They wouldn't understand a thing I was saying, but I just loved it. And I feel like that's kind of where my love for
music,
performing and dancing kind of came into fruition.
I love that.
I know, that's so sweet. Because before music, like you initially said, you were working in the medical field. You were going to be a doctor, but then you decided to take a leap of faith and go into music. What made that happen?
Oh man, okay, well, I feel like after I graduated from UC Santa Barbara, I quickly realized that I'm not gonna be a doctor, but I still wanted to go into the medical fields because school has always been like super important to my parents. And I feel like as a little kid, they would always sit me in the middle and they'd be like, what do you wanna be? And I'd be like, a doctor. And I would just like sing their praises. So I knew from a young age that like being in the medical field was something that would make my parents proud.
Right.
So I was like, okay, I don't think I have the time or like the grades to be a doctor, but maybe I can be a physician's assistant. So then I was like, it's more flexible. I can still work on music.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was kind of like how, that's always been embedded in me and my siblings. Like either be a doctor or a lawyer.
It's a cultural thing.
So what made you jump from that to music?
So after I graduated from college, I met my boyfriend, who honestly has been in the studio since he was 12, like writing poetry and everything.
Oh, wow.
And I remember just being like, hey, can I come with you to the studio? And I got in the booth for the first time and I was like, this is where I want to be. And I feel like it unlocked a passion that I've always had as a little kid.
Yeah.
Because I've always known that I wanted to be a singer. I just didn't really know how to get there.
Sure.
And the first moment I was in the studio, I was like, this is what I want to do. But I was still kind of juggling between working the medical job and then like sneaking off to the studio at nighttime. And I wouldn't tell my parents because I didn't want them to.
Right, I was just gonna ask, did they hate the boyfriend?
No, they love him. They absolutely love him. And like, they have such a good relationship, but in the beginning, I felt like I was hiding that part of me because I didn't want them to think I was like straying off the course.
No, I totally get it, but we're so happy that you chose music because we love the sound of your voice. And how would you describe your music?
I like to describe it as fun and super relatable, but I feel like my sound is constantly evolving. The one thing that I feel like stays true throughout like all the music that I make is that I write from really like true experiences. So I think it's really like authentic and raw and like true to who I am. And I think that's why my music is so relatable to a lot of people, and they just have like, we just connect. Like I feel like music is so therapeutic for me to make, but then it's also like cool because it can be a form of therapy for a listener.
Sure.
And so I feel like that's kind of where we're able to relate on that, I guess.
How do your parents feel now that you've transitioned out of the medical field to music?
At first, they were afraid when I told them I was moving to Los Angeles to pursue becoming a musician. And they were like, okay. And I lied to them. I said I had like my savings all set. Like I barely had anything in my savings. But I just knew in my heart that I needed to stop giving 50% energy into like the medical field and music. And I knew that if I just put 120% into music, I knew it would be successful. And so I was like, I'm just gonna take this risk. I know I don't have anything lined up. I didn't even have a job lined up in LA, but I was just like, I'm just gonna go. And honestly, looking back, it was probably the best decision I could have made for myself.
For yourself.
But my parents, at first, they were like, what are you doing?
Right.
My parents would come visit. They're like, when are you going back to school? And I just felt like, oh, I just have to keep working even harder to get them to understand. Because it's a really hard thing for them to understand.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until I got on like a TV show, like
Always a TV show.
back in the Bay Area. It was a Bay Area TV news station.
Yeah.
And they were like,
Oh.
See?
we get it. We're like, we totally understand now.
Sure.
And now to see them just like, they're so proud of me. And I feel like that's all I've ever wanted from my parents, especially being like the second oldest and the first female born. Like I've always felt like this duty to just like give back to my parents.
Sure, of course.
You know, especially being that they're immigrants from Vietnam. Like that was really important to me.
Yeah.
So I feel like for me to be able to still do that, but still be able to pursue my dreams, I feel like is such an amazing thing.
It's a cherry on top.
It is. It's a cherry on top, and I'm just like, I get to live my life, and my parents are supportive of it.
How about that?
great.
I mean, it's just where you want to be, right? Now, in the industry, there's not a lot of Asian representation.
Yeah.
What do you want people to take away from your music, or what do you want your music maybe to inspire other new artists of, Asian descent?
Sure. I feel like in the beginning, I didn't really even think about how important my journey was to like Asian Americans.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I was really just doing me. I was just making music and I was doing what I loved. But I think the further I got in my career, I realized how impactful what I'm doing is to a lot of them. And so, I get a lot of messages like, thank you so much for doing what you're doing. Like, it inspires me to just like either go in the art direction or do something that's just not like culturally normal, And I think I'm so proud to be Vietnamese American, and I hope that my journey really just inspires other, boys and girls that look like me to say, she's doing it, I can do it too. And I know sometimes that can be corny, but it's really true. I wish I had more of that like growing up, because I think maybe I would have started a little bit earlier, just being able to see people who look like me. But honestly,
you know what?
if I can
you
inspire,
are being an inspiration. And May is AAPI month, and you're going to be honored by the 25th California Assembly District for your work as an inspiring R&B artist. Tell us about that.
Okay, well, that's an honor.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, and especially back in the Bay Area, like my parents, I feel like growing up, gold stars or like, like ceremonies, graduations, that type of thing were really important to them, because they can see like how hard their child worked and like being like recognized for it.
Sure.
So I think to be recognized for now, like my dream and like doing what I love is so special, especially like receiving that home-time love. Like my parents, I can't wait for them to come with me. And
I
like,
can't wait to see
just
video of that.
Yes, just be able to like see them really see everything come to fruition. You understand?
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
I have to ask you, In My Bag dropped last summer. Now, how did it feel to see people like Tia Mowry, Khloe Kardashian, and more, like singing your song? Like, what was that like?
Wow,
for you?
okay. I love Tia, by the way. When I saw that she used In My Bag, I literally fell out of my seat, because I used to grow up watching Sister, and I just love them. I love them so much. But I didn't even realize how insane that song went on Instagram. Like everybody, all the big influencers were using the song, and I don't really even know where it stemmed from. But I think the song is just such a woman empowerment song to where it's like, people are putting it behind their hustles,
Yes.
behind like what they are passionate about, or
Yeah.
whether they're just working out. And I think it just builds them up. And that's the purpose of why I made the song in the first place, was to build myself up. So I'm like, for
And in
that
turn, you're doing it for other people.
yeah, exactly. So I'm like, I love that song. It's probably one of my favorite songs that I've ever made. And it was just a way for me to big up myself, and then to see people in turn big up themselves with the song. I'm like,
Well, you know what?
I
We're
did
so
the work.
excited for you because you're going on your first tour, and we hear that it's sold out.
Oh
so
my
Tell me about this.
I swear every day I have imposter syndrome. When we
We do
like
too.
drop the when we drop the tour dates and everything, I didn't realize how many people were going to be excited about it, and especially in Toronto, because I've actually never even been, you know, I've been to Vietnam, but I haven't been like really out to any other,
Yeah.
you know, things
Yeah.
like that. And so I was like, who in Canada's gonna come see me, you know? It was the first city to sell out. Then when LA went on sale, it like sold out within minutes. And I feel so grateful to like be able to have that platform.
That's
Because that's all I
amazing.
wanna do. Like, I think being able to see my childhood dreams pan out this way, and also just like being on stage and seeing everybody sing the lyrics back to me, it just keeps me going.
It's gonna
and
be great.
We are so
We're
excited for you.
so excited. If you
for
guys are in
you.
LA,
Thuy, thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
stopping by and hanging out with us today. Be sure to stream her album, I Hope You See This, and be sure to check out her tour later this month.